got this little Marshall MKii Studio. It's basically a miniaturized version of a Plexi 59, and playing the 2017 Gibson, it's a Gibson SG Standard T, because I mean, if you're gonna play Marshall, you're gonna play Gibson through it, right? I mean, don't ask Jimi Hendrix that, you know, because he played Fenders through them. But anyway, normal channel, say you've got these jumped 1 to 2. Normal channel gives you a little more bass, bottom end, and this is where you get your growl and high end and all that stuff. Even if I pull this all the way down, this is still going to give you that bite, okay? If I turn this all the way down and turn that up, it's just kind of muddy. But blending the two, you can kind of get that best of both worlds. I've got the treble really low, middle boosted a little bit to 4, bass about 4, and just kind of pretty low here. And I've been playing on the high setting. I'm probably going to play in the low setting for this video because my ears are starting to not take it very well, because this speaker is right next to my head. Roll the volume back about halfway. It cleans up pretty nice, but it gets, let's bring it back up to about 7 or so. It's getting a little hairy, but that gets that kind of maybe you need to bring it up about to 8.5. Let's see if that gets that that somewhat clean Van Halen type sound. Yeah, I think that kind of gets it there. And I really only have this with loudness 1 at about 2 and loudness 2 at the same thing. Of course, I'll show how it's jumped and what I'm plugged into and the settings for this. I'm probably not going to change the settings on this because it gets pretty mean pretty quick without any kind of boosters in front of it. And this is a low volume for a small amp, volume all the way up. So it gets growly. Now I'm going to put the Klon on just to boost it. It's more than enough. This is just a compressor. Just turned on my compressor and everything's right up close to noon. That's almost more than enough to really give it a good kick in the pants. Turn that off and just get your, hey, I'm plugged into a cranked Plexi sound. And I know that's not right, but you get the picture, right? guess the compressor give me the boost I need. If you're wanting that raw rock approach, turn on the Talisman, turn on the reverb. For me, this amp is a lot of fun just to kind of recreate those old AC/DC sounds, you know, Bon Scott era stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I'm of the opinion that if you could get that bass, that basic tone right there, or what Eddie gets on the first several albums, I think a lot of guys. I've listened to say Paul Gilbert and Nuno Betancourt and others like to get their basic tone, and like they're not like playing their style that's like them. I listened to that foundation, and I think that they're all trying to get that brown sound of Eddie, and I think if you get that as your basis, as close as you can get, because I mean, who's going to get Eddie's tone, like nail it right on? But if you get close to that, that's a really great foundation for that 80s rock, even classic rock. You roll it back your volume like I was doing, you can get great, you know, Skynyrd sounds or whatever from that era, from like the mid 70s all through the 80s and even into the 90s, to get that great tone. I was listening to Paul Gilbert play the other day, and I was going, that's when I figured it out. I was like, he's just trying to get Eddie's tone, but then when he plays, he sounds like Paul Gilbert because, well, he's Paul Gilbert, right? And if I can get that same tone and all that setting and I can play, I'm not going to sound like Eddie and I'm not going to sound like Paul Gilbert. I'm going to sound like this guy here, you know. So anyway, I'll just play some more and let you hear. Play some different styles, that same tone. So I'm not changing anything on the amp or my guitar. It's just the songs. These songs are just changing. They're just different. I'll roll back my volume. Let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7. Turn it up to 8. And full volume on the guitar. That might actually be just too much for that, but you got it there if you need it, right? This amp gets pretty mean pretty quick, and yeah, I can't complain about that. You're gonna get that Marshall sound from it. you know, that you're looking for. So I'll just keep on playing. Alright, I'm just rolling them back randomly here. Compressor's back on. So yeah, I used Gibson SG Standard T 2017 into the Marshall MKii Studio little shoebox type amp. It's but it packs a punch. It's really super light, maybe 20 pounds, and just easy to move around. It gets stinking loud, stinking quick. Of course, I'm sitting right next to it. I'm running it into a cabinet that's a 212 cabinet. It's got Celestian Greenbacks in it, so 25 watts. Handles a 50-watt load. And I really kind of feel like this amp would probably do better, get more headroom if I were running into like the Celestian 75s that a lot of the Marshall cabinets will come with. Basically a higher wattage speaker around that 75 watt range would probably, I could get more of that headroom, that clean, and then hit it harder with pedals to get it to break up on the front end. But this is what I've got, and I think it's cool. Like to have one, and of course like to have a lot of things. Anyway, big thanks to Andy for letting me borrow the amp for a little bit and run it through some paces. Like to know if you have this amp or messed with it or whatever, what your thoughts are on it. If you've what your settings have been. I think it would run better if I ran the delay and reverb into its effects loop, and but I didn't. I'm just looking at the basic fundamentals of the thing. It is cool that it's got an effects loop. Hope you all have a great day. See ya.